The bad news is you can study what to do and how to do it for decades and never move the needle. You can go to every Hormozy, every Tony Robbins, you can go to every AI, you can go to everything. But if you don't get rid of this, you're always going to have one foot on the brake. You're going to be trying to press the accelerator and wondering, how come I'm not going faster? And it's because I've coached a lot of people over the years. I've coached people who were absolutely devastatingly stuck. One person that comes to mind who's now a rock star is Amy Murphy. Some of you have heard her story, but she was in direct sales, home business for 17 years, had never made more money than she spent. She got into our training, did some coaching with her. She ended up becoming a $1 million earner in her company, retired her husband, generated over $5 million in that company. Then she pursued acting, and now I think she's building in a new company. I've worked with people who've been stuck for a really long time. And I kind of had this realization today that there have been people over the years that I helped them grow by 10% or something. And honestly, that's kind of boring. I mean, we've had 3 or 4 people that got into our Rank Makers group, had never made a sale, had been trying to make sales for over 5 years, and they get in, they follow the training, they make their first sale ever. Like, we have lots of stories like that. It's really cool. Like, I like that kind of stuff. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like their first sale, but I love big transformations. One of them that I really enjoyed is, when we launched the book, Time, Money, Freedom, okay, this book right here. How many have time, money, freedom? Honestly, I probably don't talk about it enough. But I mean, we have amazing testimonials from John Assaraf, Jack Canfield, and Mark Victor Hansen, and a bunch of other rock stars. But Time, Money, Freedom is the book that I did with Hay House a couple years ago, and we did something fun. So I'm gonna teach you a little bit of marketing fun. And so when we were selling these, we were trying to move a whole bunch of books, and we did. We moved thousands of books. And so I took and I put a golden certificate in some of these books, and probably one out of every 25 or something like that, right? We put a little golden certificate in. And what you got, if you got a golden certificate, like a Willy Wonka certificate, is you would get a 10-minute one-on-one coaching call with me. And so I'm on this 10-minute coaching call, and this girl gets it, and she's excited. And so we get on, and very quickly, because this will lead into my first major point. So this is a story with a point. She had been stuck at $500 a month for 4 years. She could not get above that. Now, maybe you're above $500 a month, but maybe you're stuck. And that's a pattern. That's a form of sabotage. We'll talk about that. And so she could not get $500 a month. 4 years she'd been stuck there, couldn't get past it. I know on that kind of pattern, there is some kind of observation she had made from her childhood, and it has something to do with either disappointment or something. And so I just asked her, because we only got 10 minutes. And so I said, hey, was there something that disappointed you as a kid? And she said, well, maybe not disappointment, but shame. I'm like, okay. And she said, I'm like, expand. And she said, my mom was a prostitute. And at that point, I was pretty sure I knew what the problem was, right? Pretty bold of me to say that, but I've coached a lot of people. So, but I asked her another question. I said, do other people know that? And she goes, oh yeah, all the people around me know that. And she's still alive. What an interesting comment. I said, I think I know your problem. And she goes, what's my problem? I didn't ask her scripts. I didn't ask her how she followed up. I didn't look at her branding. I didn't look at her tagline. I didn't study her videos. I didn't look at her leadership package or her onboarding or any of that kind of stuff. I said, I'm pretty sure I know your problem. And she's like, what's my problem? And I said, you believe that if you reach your potential and you start making a bunch of money, the people around you to pull you down to size will point out, yeah, your mom was a prostitute, and that would bring shame to your living mother, and you would do anything to avoid that. And she's like, oh my God, I never thought about that. Oh, you're right. And I said, but there's another way to look at it. And that is, your mom did a lot of things she didn't want to do for you to have a better life. And it's kind of a smack in the face that you aren't, right? And so I will admit that one I kind of second guessed. That one I'm like, maybe I knew it was correct. That I knew. But I'm like, did I go too hard, too fast? This was 10 minutes. I'm like shattering this lifelong program that she's had in 10 minutes. And so the next day I text her, I'm like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, she may hate me at this point, because I have had that. I have done that earlier in my coaching career where I went too fast, too soon, and then they end up hating me. I've learned you got to sometimes have kid gloves. You got to have permission to go there. And I definitely treaded a murky line. And so I text her the next day, "Hey, how you doing?" And she replies, "I had a talk with my mom last night and it's on." Ooh. In 90 days, she had gone from $500 a month, stuck for 4 years, to $90,000 in volume, and went on to become a multiple six-figure earner, went on to become a best-selling author. She's now a rock star in her industry, and that's Di Carter. It's amazing. See, I like that. I like that kind of stuff. I like transformation, and boom, they're off to the races. They're off to the races. And to my knowledge, I don't even know if I think I may have had 1 or 2 follow-up calls with her. Like, I wasn't, like, coaching her every day or every minute. It's just, let's break this thing and then let you go, right? Let you off the leash. That's what I like. I like that kind of stuff. I like let's find that thing, that little block, that little unit of data. If we just make you aware of that, or if we just remove that, because sometimes it's not even about awareness. It's sometimes just about removing the thing so that you can just run hard. Okay. What I've realized is 90% of not hitting your sales goals is somewhere in your mindset. Now, I know. Everyone's like, "I don't need no mindset training." Well, your results say otherwise. Sorry. It's the way it is, man. Now, that doesn't mean it's in your conscious mindset. It doesn't mean that it's something you're even aware of. In fact, you probably aren't aware, because the brain likes to keep you safe. The brain is always looking at everything, gathering data, remembering stuff you don't actually remember. Your subconscious is holding on to everything, right? Your subconscious is holding on to everything that ever happened to you. And your brain is trying to keep you safe. But I can tell you that 90% of not hitting sales goals is somewhere in the mindset, and it's a form of sabotage. If you have any of these kind of patterns, pay attention to these kind of patterns. I'll give you just 3. There's more. I'll give you 3. 1, you aren't consistent. If you struggle with consistency, I can guarantee you 100% certainty that is some observation you made as a kid. Now, sometimes it's beneficial for you to learn what it was. Sometimes. But I've learned you don't actually have to. And what isn't helpful is 30 years of therapy around that thing. It's not helpful. I've seen people just do decades, and I'm not bashing therapy. Sometimes therapy is the answer. But therapy for you not being consistent, I don't think is the answer, because there's a way to quickly figure out what is the actual problem. What's the actual problem? And so if you're not consistent, if you plateau at a certain dollar amount, no matter what you do, man, no matter where I go, I just can't get above this certain amount. Or if you hit a certain level of success and then something happens, right? Something bad happens, or you find out something or whatever. All of those are forms of sabotage. You know that you have sabotage by your patterns, not by what you think you know. Not by, no, I read Think and Grow Rich. I don't got any patterns. No. Do you have patterns? The patterns are what reveal. That's what reveals. So it's a form of sabotage, usually, but not always, stemming from a childhood wound. The good news, I've helped hundreds and hundreds of people get out of this sabotage. Hundreds. It's rare for me to hear a new angle anymore, right? Usually they're pretty much the same kind of angles, the same associations with either the overpressuring mom or dad and you were just never good enough, or the highlighting of you or the other sibling. Again, you weren't good enough, or when you got highlighted, they felt punished. And so you drew a negative connotation there. We'll talk about that. That's the good news, is you're on with someone who's helped hundreds and hundreds of people with this kind of thing. The bad news is you can study what to do and how to do it for decades and never move the needle if you don't solve this sabotage problem. You can go to every Hormozi, every Tony Robbins, you can go to every AI, you can go to everything. But if you don't get rid of this, you're always going to have one foot on the brake. You're going to be trying to press the accelerator and wondering, how come I'm not going faster? And it's because your sabotage foot is firmly pressed on the brake. And that's why you burn out, right? You try to do more, but it's just, you're starting, stopping. And so the cool thing is you can learn to get that foot off the brake and you can just fly with whatever it is that you're doing. It doesn't have to mean that you have to change things. And you may actually be doing everything right. I've seen people that literally we figure out their sabotage and they don't change anything in their routine. They don't change a darn thing in what they say. They don't even change their follow-up. They don't change their brand. They don't change their anything. All we did was remove that piece of sabotage and boom, they're off to the races. I've seen that over and over. Here's some common examples because you really, if you don't, I mean, let's be honest. How many are frustrated with buying course after course, book after book, and just still having the same results? Going to the same conferences at the same dollar level. Be honest. Maybe it's not something you have to do. Maybe it's not something you have to even learn. Maybe it's something in you that is preventing you from where you should be. Maybe it's sabotage. Let's just try it on, possibly. Maybe it's not that you have to go and learn some new AI thing or learn some new whatever, fill in the blank. Okay. And so let me give you some common examples. And these are all real world examples that I have quite a few people of any of these things. Okay. These aren't in order, by the way, but if you're scared of the limelight, well, I just don't like the limelight being on me. I don't like being spotlit. You don't have to edify me. I'm here for my team. Right. Well, if you're scared of the limelight, you'll usually fly under the radar of your potential. And usually, I'm not saying always, but boy, is it a high percentage. If you hate the limelight, it is extremely likely that you had siblings. And it's very likely, not extremely, but very likely that you were the good one. So you were the one that mom and dad said, why can't you be more like your sister? And so you, as a kid, drew the conclusion that when you got highlighted, when you got the spotlight, someone else was diminished. And so unless you're just a psychopath, right, that doesn't feel good. So you go through your adult life thinking that, in the back of your mind, if I'm up on the red carpet, if I'm up on stage, then someone's being harmed, and you'll prevent that. So you'll see that, oh, if I hit this sales quota, then they're going to feature me in the magazine or feature me on stage. You'll come just short. And you won't know why. Number 2, inconsistent. You struggle with discipline. You're like, I just can't be consistent. I know what to do. I just can't keep doing it. That one is, I'm going to say it always, because you drew the wrong conclusion to success. You made an observation as a kid and something tipped you off that there was something wrong with success. Because we know that consistency will create success. So we will not we will not go have success and then screw it up. We'll just not have success. So it's kind of like if your mom or dad died by falling off of a mountain, you may avoid climbing mountains. One of the most common scenarios here is if you had parents that made a bunch of money and lost it and you were shamed and you had to deal with that, like the papers wrote about you and stuff like that, very likely that you'll sabotage making a bunch of money because you drew the conclusion that if you make a bunch of money, you could lose it. And then it's really embarrassing, right? If I stay small, it's not that embarrassing. And if I go from small to smaller, no one writes about it. No one talks about it. There's not a lot of gossip around that. But if you had parents, made a bunch of money, lost it, very likely that you could sabotage you making money. Okay. Helpful so far? Money plateau. This could be lots and lots of things. This one is no one size fits all. Could be parents made and lost money. That could achieve that. Could be that your parents never achieved their dreams and you would feel bad achieving yours. Now, this is never in your conscious mind. No one's going to ask you, hey, Janet, why aren't you going after your goals? Well, because my parents never reached their goals. So, I figure, who am I to reach mine? That'll never come out of anyone's mouth. That's not how this works. What happens is a little program gets set, and in the back of the mind, you'll have this resistance to going after it all in, okay? And so if you don't go all in, you're not going to hit your goals. We got to go all in to hit our goals, okay? It could be, now I've seen this a lot here in the United States with immigrant parents. Their parents were immigrants. They worked very low-paying jobs, a lot of them, very low-paying jobs, worked very hard, and they respect their parents so much that they feel it's a form of disrespect if they start making money easily and more money than they ever made. So some people will sabotage ease of money because if it's easy for me, then isn't that disrespectful to my parents who work so hard? In my Faith-Driven Wealth, I'm not going to go through all of them because we got other stuff to cover. But in my Faith-Driven Wealth book, chapter, I believe 5, I talk about the 21 reasons you're broke. And it breaks down 21 different versions of what I'm talking about here tonight. And that's Faith-Driven Wealth. Now, you could have something else, and it could be related to some of the things that I'm talking about, but it could be from childhood wounds called agreements. Now, this is a deeper topic. Not everyone knows about old agreements, okay? And I can't fully explain them, to be honest, I can just tell you that they're real. And I can tell you that they're just like a hard coded program. It's like a hard coded program that's just stamped on the brain. And so let me tell you, the first person I helped with this, I won't give her name, but one of my friends, she's awesome. She's just beautiful, smart, funny, great personality. She's, Christian woman. It's awesome. And when I made this call to her a year ago, I think in July, I think so. A year ago in July, I prayed about her and I got, hey, you have an agreement. And she's okay, what's that? And her agreement was men are bad. And that came from her childhood, alcoholic, abusive dad. She had never had a good relationship with a man. Here she was, 40, maybe 41, had never had a great relationship with her dad, with anyone, not her dad, not just her dad, but any man, period. I prayed, I'm like, your agreement is men are bad. And she's like, that resonates. And so I prayed, God removed that. And an agreement is not something you agree to, but it's something you agreed to at some point in your life. And I found that a lot of people that struggle have an agreement. I had an agreement, by the way. And so we pray, God removes it. 2 weeks later, she texts me, I'm in love. I think 2 or 3 weeks after that, married. She's now pregnant. They're married, having a kid, living together, loving the life. A lot of times these agreements, when you get rid of them, you just skyrocket it. And whatever it is that was holding you back. And so here's some of the common agreements. Now, what I've noticed is when I read some of these statements, sometimes people really resonate with them. And it's a good chance that you may have that agreement, or you at least believe that lie, because there are two different things. I found that someone can only have one agreement, but you can believe multiple lies. Okay. Some common agreements. I'm not good enough. I'll never be good enough. I can't do it. It won't last. I could share for 10 minutes on each of these. Okay. But if you have I'm not good enough, I'll never be good enough, it won't last, you'll find yourself saying things like, why bother? Why bother? You might get pumped up about something, you might go after something, but eventually you're like, why bother? Why bother? And so, first of all, I'm curious, did any of those resonate with you? Any of those words, any of those little phrases? They're not complicated phrases, they're very simple phrases. But I've done this for hundreds and hundreds of people. And where they have this agreement, we get rid of it, all of a sudden their life improves. It is a form of sabotage. Now, there are also lies that people can believe. Now, all of those things around agreements, people can also believe. And I do talk about agreements, some in Faith Driven Wealth, but you can also have lies that you believe. Some of the common lies, especially in what we're talking about. Money is hard to make. Money is hard to keep. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. Now, the person who has an agreement or believes the lie of I'm not enough actually will usually be very accomplished because they're constantly trying to prove to you that they are enough. So they'll usually go and get a bunch of certificates and degrees and they'll have all the plaques on the wall and everything. It wasn't mine. I didn't have it. I had, I'll show you. That was an act of mine, but I didn't have the I'm not good enough. But usually someone who has I'm not enough or I'm not good enough will be constantly trying to prove to you that they are and prove to themselves that they are. But the problem is it's never enough. It's never enough. You can't accomplish enough to get over the I'm not enough. You can't. There is no, oh, finally, I hit 100 million a year. Oh, well, now I'm good. No, there is never enough. And a lot of that would come from parents that just maybe were overbearing, or parents that abandoned, or parents, and you draw the conclusion, well, if I was enough, then they would have stayed together. If I was enough, then dad wouldn't have left. Okay. And so we think that we have this one-time thing happen in childhood and then we're good to go. And then anything else that's wrong with us has to be from adulthood. It's not true. We have this program that gets set. Sometimes it's an agreement. Sometimes it's a stronghold. That's another one. Sometimes it is a lie that we believe. All of these are different types of sabotage, all of them. And we've helped people with every single one of these kind of things. The thing is, you can work literally like crazy to learn new things, but you'll always have one foot on the brake if you have any of this stuff. If you have any of this stuff, there is a way for you to figure out what the heck you got going on, and it can be quick. Most of this stuff can be removed in like a session. That's fact. I'm not a fan of Hey, I'm going to need 3 years with you to help you with that thing. I just don't like it. I get that may be better for business than solving things lickety split, but if you can solve them fast, why not? Why not? And so we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. But some of you, and I'm curious, who just finished my 10x sales challenge? Who just finished that? I know we had a lot of awesome people on there. We had more people on that than we have on tonight. So not everyone made it on, and that's okay. Let's see. You guys getting value from this? Is this helpful so far? And it's funny too, because you'll hear some people, and these people usually have the biggest programs. They'll be like, just get over it. Just get over your childhood, man. You had a bad childhood. Just get over it. They're usually ones with the biggest programs. They're usually the ones with the I'm not enough. And so they're out there, they're to the world, they're making it happen, but they're freaking miserable, man. They're miserable, unfulfilled, miserable. And so it's not just get over it. It's not, there is no just get over it. It's you can either become aware of a thing and through prayer, through different things, you can either get rid of it or get better at it, but it's not a just get over it. It's get it out, right? Yeah, Christy, I appreciate that. Look at this. This is great. Christy, who is not in any of my coaching, but she was in my 10X class. No joke, Ray uncovered and cleared my agreement in minutes, and within 3 days, I'm a new person. I've been working on myself literally consistently for 15 years. That's awesome. Appreciate that. Unsolicited comment there. I appreciate it. And so for those that were in my 10X, we're stepping into part 2. Okay. So part 1 is you are not going to reach your potential no matter what you learn, no matter what guru you follow, if you have sabotage. And you can get rid of most sabotage very, very quickly. And we've done that so many times. Okay. Step 2. Step 2 is, and especially for those that just finished my 10X sales challenge, you saw me coach people around this, but you have to focus on who you're serving. And I do talk about this in my latest book as well, but I call this your anointed brand. When you know who you're called to serve, content becomes easier and you see God's favor on what you're doing all over the place. All of a sudden, doors are swung wide open that your resume couldn't have opened. All of a sudden, people are inviting you to things and that you couldn't have paid to be invited to do. But here's the rub on that one. Okay. Often your anointing and who you're called to serve, who your real perfect avatar is, comes from a place of your life where you struggled. Now, not always. That is not the case with everyone. I've worked with a lot of people, and sometimes that's not the case. But a lot of the times, it's the thing that you don't want to talk about. It's the thing that you're super uncomfortable about. And I just want to say, I'm very proud. I don't know if she's on tonight or not. I'm very proud of Priya. I forget her last name, but Priya was on with us in the 10X Sales Challenge. And I told her, I'm like, this is your anointed brand, whether you do something with it or not, I don't know. And God bless her. She went out there. She wrote a vulnerable post about how she felt inauthentic with her brand around freedom. And when she got into a car crash and realized she did not have freedom, she felt very inauthentic. She felt very out of alignment. And she posted about that. I was very impressed. She's actually there to help people who don't feel authentic with their brand and help them be more vulnerable to explode, because vulnerability is a superpower. It's just amazing. And so I was very proud of her. She did, I mean, that day she jumped right on. It was incredible. But often it's your most powerful brand and who you're called to serve is that thing you struggle with the most, is that thing you're most uncomfortable with, is that thing that you hope no one else even finds out about. It's not looking at what works. It's not, Gen Z thing or whatever. It's not something cutesy. That's not what it is. It's courage. It's courage to walk in an authentic brand. See, so many people, more people have a brand that they think will work, but doesn't actually resonate with them. God's not going to bless that. He's just not. And what I mean by that, I've seen people with big, great brands from the outside, but they're not fulfilled. And they look all shiny and pretty and amazing. And they got all their graphics and they got all their colors and they got all their fonts and all that stuff. But they're really looking for, why am I not fulfilled? Okay, I hit 1 million a year. What's next? I hit 5 million a year. Oh, what's next? And by the way, I'm one of the slower learners. I had to generate over $30 million to realize what I was doing wasn't fulfilling me. I know some of you be like, hey, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. You are until you're not. I like what Zig Ziglar said. He said, money won't buy happiness, but everyone wants to find out on their own. That's a fact. No one will ever take your word for that one. And so it takes courage to walk an authentic brand. Let me give you some examples, because we've worked with a lot of people to help them with their brand, to come up with an authentic, cool brand that they love, serving the people that they're actually called to serve. So here's some examples: repairing adult children relationships, forgiving your mom or dad, helping people have a better relationship with God that hate church. I love that one. I think it's amazing. Your anointed brand is rarely going to cross two large segments. Like some people, they say, I help you with your health and your wealth. That's usually not going to be the way. Usually not. We're coaching a couple right now that they do very well with relationship, but they're also very good at business. I'm like, couldn't we do both? I'm like, when you do that, you're competing with a lot of very big brands and you're not standing out very well. Much more difficult to stand out. And most people that don't know you are going to think you aren't great at either. When you try to cross multiple lanes and that be your front facing marketing, most people, because you have to think about people that don't know you, not just the people that know you, but who doesn't know you. And when they see your brand, oh, they cover health and wealth, they must not be very good at either. Because isn't that what you would think? Isn't that what you would think? So what I do twice a month is I do a thing called Sales and Marketing Mentorship. And in it, we dive in and very quickly eliminate any kind of sabotage that you have. We've done that with so many people. We dive in and we learn very quickly, not in 30 years, not in a 5-session therapy thing, but very, very quickly we learn, do you have any sabotage around your business? And that involves some questions, that involves some prayer, but we find it out. We figure it out. And that is something that we do first, because it would be dumb of me to say, okay, go do this if you have sabotage, because your foot's going to be on the brake the whole time you're trying to do all those other things. And then you get frustrated and then you quit. And so instead, we figure out your sabotage first. Then from there, we look at your existing marketing. We help you with your anointed brand, come up with who you're called to serve, and help fine tune that, the execution of that, and what is going to be the way for you to make the biggest impact for who you're called to help. And so I have a couple guests on with me, and they're actually sales and marketing mentorship students. And so I'm going to bring out Jean and Lynn. Jean and Lynn, how are you? Yay. So Jean, we'll start with you. Jean, because you've been in sales and marketing mentorship, what's been your take? How do those calls go, and what benefit do you see in them, and has it benefited you?
It has benefited me so much. Everything you're saying tonight, it's just going deeper and deeper, deeper. I think I have to hear it more often than maybe some do, but that's okay. Knowing now what I know and that I can recognize it and be aware of it and change my mindset like that is becoming easier. And I'm seeing progress in my business because of it. It hasn't been quick, but it's consistent.
So I want you to think back before, right? And is it quicker than before, or is it same speed, or what would you?
No, it is quicker than before. I'm always constantly aware now of what I'm thinking. And when I'm thinking the old programs, they show up. And then I think, okay, oops,
Yeah,
not that anymore. Let's go.
powerful,
Yeah.
powerful. And so have you benefited? Because this is one of the questions. One of the things that I think is really good about, I think there's two things great about group coaching. One is typically more affordable, right? My
Yeah.
6-month one-on-one coaching is $30,000, and group coaching typically is more affordable than one-on-one. And number two is you don't just learn from your own kind of issues and things, but you hear other people's. Have you gotten benefit from hearing other people's stumbles and other people's sabotage?
Absolutely. It's and encouraged. When I see what Lynn has gone through and what she's accomplished, it's so encouraging.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I am absolutely thrilled to have been a part
Nice.
of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Lynn, talk to us about sales and marketing mentorship. You were kind enough to talk about it in 10X a little bit, and I thought I'd bring you back out.
It's been a whirlwind in many ways, and I concur with everything that Jean said. And I would like to add too that it's inspiring. We get an immense amount of inspiration, and the folks that are in the group, we are not connected with one another in any other way besides rank makers and this training program. So that's where I'm learning from. Your company will give you motivational training weekly, monthly, whatever their plans and scheduling is. But this is something that takes it beyond what those business trainings are with the company, because this is something that you can pinpoint and target to your own personal needs versus being a broad picture of how to promote your product brand or your service or opportunity, as you say, product, service, or opportunity. This way you can target it yourself. And that is something that is also immensely valuable. The whole thing is just, and this isn't my first rodeo with Higdon Group, obviously. Those people who've been in rank makers understand that we not only learn from the private coaching we get from Ray, but we're also invited to the rank makers group where we continue to get coaching, and they bring life into that area as well. So we can pose questions if we can't get, because we only meet, third and fourth week, I think, with the
Yeah,
group.
if you're a Rainmaker lifer, I do once a month for an hour group coaching for lifers every month, but yeah, once a
Yeah,
month. And then, but the sales and marketing mentorship, that's twice a month. And there's no
right.
time cap on that one.
And also, if you have questions when we don't have a weekly training with Ray for that program, you can post them in the
Yeah.
group.
Yeah.
And there are valuable answers that come from that as well, because we've got the leaders who do their niche marketing training in the rank makers group. And you're automatically a rank maker when you join sales and marketing mentorship.
Yeah.
So we're just inundated, and maybe that's not the right word because that has negative connotations, but we are blessed all of these various opportunities. So there you can tap into anything that suits your
Yeah.
fancy. And but we get you all to ourselves and Sam.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sam, yeah. In sales and marketing mentorship, we go until all questions are answered. And we have had 4-hour marathons. Usually they're not that long, but I'm not there to work less. I'm there to create breakthroughs and create transformations. And I know, Lynn, you had an amazing transformation. Can you share that?
sure, I had been in this industry of multi-level marketing for 26 years before I saw breakthrough, and Ray prayed over Jeff and I, my husband Jeff and I, and helped us get past some. I can't even remember now what it was because you've prayed with us so many times since we joined the group. Was it an
I think for
agreement,
you,
or
it was a like a stronghold, I believe.
and it might have been an agreement.
It was some kind of stronghold around money, like how money was either hard to get or keep. I forget, is one of those, or maybe both.
And we each had an agreement in that area, which would hold them back. So once that was prayed off back in January, early February timeframe, shortly after that, I had diamond with my company. And after 26 years of never seeing that kind of success, that was a huge thing for us, because he's been with me, I would say 26 years, but we've only been married for 23. So hasn't been here for the first 3 years when I really hustled. Yeah. So this is a really exciting thing for us now
Very cool.
to have this experience.
Congrats. Again, this is the kind of stuff I love to create. I love to create these kind of stories. You had been stuck for 26 years and you went out and did the work. I'm not claiming that I did the work. I didn't do the work for you, but there was just a little
Right.
piece of code that we removed from the two of you, and then you crush it. And I've seen that over and over and over. And so just appreciate you guys. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies, for coming out here. And so the sales and marketing mentorship, if you want to follow along, if you want to learn more about this, you can at higdongroup.com/SAMM. higdongroup.com/SAMM. And so in that, we focus on the 3 areas. Okay. Is there any sabotage? Is there anything that's slowing you? We look at patterns. I pray about you, see what we see in prayer. And number 2, what is your brand? What is your anointed brand? Who are you really called to serve? So I ask questions around that, ask you about life experiences. And then number 3, what's your execution? So some people quickly get through sabotage, get their brand, and then we focus on execution the rest of the calls, right? Easy breezy, bada bing. But sometimes there's resistance to their big brand, and sometimes they're nervous for that big brand. That's where you get to get into prayer yourself and figure out if you're going to run with this thing or not. And so twice a month, we're meeting together to discover and get rid of any and all sabotages, continue to fine tune your brand and how to execute in the biggest way to make the biggest impact. And so if you decide to join tonight or tomorrow, you get 3 very big bonuses. Okay. Number 1, presenting for profits. Presenting for Profits has trained a lot of the speakers that you know. You may or may not know they were trained by that presentation, but Presenting for Profits is how to make a very profitable presentation. Okay. I've helped a lot of people make big money as speakers, but that doesn't necessarily mean on stage. It could be virtual, but it's how to construct a presentation that closes. That could be worth a lot of money to you. That's one of the bonuses that you get. The second bonus you get is a 1-minute influencer. That is how to rock short videos, how to rock reels, step by step, exactly what to do. And the last is on speaking, how to be a rock star speaker. So all 3 of these things, regardless of your brand, regardless of who you're called to serve, if you're going to be big, if you're going to make a big impact, you're going to need all 3 of those skills. And we teach you inside of those. So you get around $6,000 in bonuses, and you can join and get your first month of coaching from me for only $1,000. It's $1,000 a month or $5,000 for 6 months. Now, I know that's a serious investment. And so I'm going to tell you the 3 questions to ask to see if this makes sense for you or not. And so it's $1,000 a month or $5,000 for 6 months. Those who do the 5K, you save obviously $1,000, but you also get a one-on-one hour call with me if you join before Tuesday night at midnight Eastern. Okay. Now here's some questions if you're considering coaching with anyone. Now, this isn't just for what we're talking about. Okay. And 3 questions if you're considering coaching with anyone. And I've asked these questions. The third question I've asked the last 2 years, but I don't make a move without these 3 questions. Okay. Number 1, do I trust this person? Guess what? If you're having a bad feeling of someone you're about to buy from, you probably need to trust that gut. If you're about to buy coaching with someone and you're just like, I don't know, there's something, the offer looks really good, but I don't know about this person, you probably shouldn't move forward. Okay. Number 2, do I think they could help me? Depending on what you're trying to do, ask yourself, could I help you, or whoever it is that you're evaluating? Number 3, this is the biggest question. Lord, should I move forward with this person and this coaching? That's the biggest question. Is the Lord giving you permission to move forward? Is the Lord encouraging you to move forward? If so, then it's up to you to play big. Okay. And if not, he's got something else for you. Okay. And so coaching, what I found is a time hack. I'm not asking you to do anything that I haven't done. I have invested more in coaching than almost anyone that I know. I went a 9-year stretch where I invested over $100,000 a year in my education. And that's not college, right? I did college. I don't know what that cost me. I never finished college, but through masterminds, through mentors, through coaching, through one-on-one group, et cetera, I've invested a lot in coaching, well over $1 million, but I had a 9-year span, over $100,000 every year. Okay. Now I see, like I mentioned before, group coaching is a major time hack because it's usually a lot more affordable than one-on-one. And mine is, it's a lot more affordable than if you wanted to hire me one-on-one. And if you're on here and you're $1 million earner and you prefer one-on-one, I'm happy to talk about it with you. Okay. But group coaching is usually a lot more affordable. And you don't just learn whatever I'm teaching you, you also learn what other mistakes are other people having. Okay. And so on the website, you'll see the times. So if you're wondering about the times and the access and all that, and you want a recap of the bonuses, you can go to higdongroup.com/SAMM, higdongroup.com/SAMM. And here's just my last little bit of encouragement. What do I mean by coaching is a time hack? You can learn everything on your own. The sabotage stuff, okay, maybe you can't. I don't know if you can learn that, to be honest, because your brain is there to keep you safe. And so you on your own trying to locate the reason for your sabotage can be very exhausting, if not completely fruitless. So that's very hard. That is very difficult for you to figure out yourself. But I'm not saying it's impossible. But all of the other stuff of branding, of sales, of scaling, of speaking, of presenting, of how to be a better marketer, having someone look at your marketing. One of the sessions a couple months ago, there was a guy And he's like, yeah, I don't understand why I'm not getting more traction. I do a video every single day, and I've done a video every single day for like 6 months. And I'm like, okay. And it was his first session with me. I'm like, all right, pull up your videos. Let's take a look. And I look, and I don't know if he wasn't reviewing them or something, but the audio was terrible. It was not great. And there were a couple other little things that when you're doing a video, you can't have terrible audio. It doesn't have to be crystal clear. It can't be bad. It can't be like he had like this humming, like he was by a generator or something. And that was in every one of his videos. Like he was fighting upstream, but no one had ever told him this. And he was getting he had worked hard. He had been consistent. And so sometimes it's something like that. There is no, you must stay this long in this program. Most people, they want a few months in it. We have people that have been in, they've renewed after 6 months. They want to keep going because they're making more money than they're spending from the advice they're getting in the coaching. If you are paying $1,000 a month, but I'm helping you tweak your marketing, those tweaks are making you more than $1,000 a month, then it would cost you money to stop. Some just get in to get their sabotage fixed and get their sabotage, that's a quick thing. I don't drag that out, and I'll never drag that out. I think that would be pure blasphemy if I did. And so I am trying to help you break through as quickly as possible because it makes my stories a whole lot better and it's just a lot faster for you. I want those stories. I want those stories of breakthroughs. So I love the people who've been stuck a long time. I love the people who are struggling. I love those people. You got to be willing to show up. You got to be willing to be vulnerable. I'm going to ask you some tough questions sometimes, but if you're willing to show up and you're willing to be vulnerable, we will knock out that sabotage. If you've been stuck at a certain dollar amount for any length of time, I've figured that out with hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of people, and I can figure it out with you too. God has really blessed me in certain areas. He's blessed me in a lot of areas, but he's blessed me with this thing. I have this thing that I can figure out someone's problem. I can figure out what's causing them the delay, what's causing them sabotage. And he's been very gracious with that gift. I'm very grateful for him for that. And so I hope this was helpful to you. Whether you decide to move forward or not, I hope maybe this brought some awareness. Maybe you'll ask yourself some different questions. Maybe you're looking at your patterns and you got a different plan of attack, or maybe you'll let me actually help you. I would love to if you're game for that. And so you can you can check it out at higdongroup.com/SAMM. And so I appreciate you so very much. God bless you. God bless your family, whether we work together or not. I hope that you go out there and absolutely crush it. And it is higdongroup.com/SAMM. It stands for Sales and Marketing Mentorship. higdongroup.com/SAMM. All right. And so I appreciate you so very much. Thank you guys so much for paying attention here. All right. Bye for now.